be able to support himself up to keep him upright if you wanted to take your right hand and hold this bowl. Okay. There we go. What is that? So that's a mixture of brown rice, shaved up sweet potatoes, and actually a really high quality dog food that's been soaked in water and then mixed into it. And that's where they get their protein for the first 2 years of their lives. We slowly start to add in, more things like boiled eggs, other larger organizations that breed sloths or have a lot more sloths than we do opt to give them pinkies as their protein source, which is those little mice that have not developed any hair on them yet. Some people will feed those because if a wild sloth were to come across like a bird's nest in the wild with some really young baby birds in it, they would probably eat those, as well as like lizards or different little things like that that he'd get hold of. They wouldn't have an issue with eating those. But we opt to give our protein and the dog food and the boiled eggs. We do so Flash is on 2 hard-boiled eggs a week for his protein source, and that meets all of his protein requirements. So it works out really well for him, and they do love the boiled eggs. They get it all over their noses and everything too. And you can see Dash is a pretty messy eater and likes to get that rice everywhere. Okay. And they do have a really good sense of smell. And Flash loves this rice. So I'm actually going to leave this open and see if Flash starts to smell that here soon. Maybe we'll decide to come down and see us. And if you wanted...
How old is this one?
Just turned a year old. Yeah.
And how old is he?
7 years old. Yeah. But if you actually wanted to have a seat in the brown chair, it's more likely that he would come down if he didn't see somebody walking around right through there. Sometimes he just needs a little bit more patience, which I don't have sometimes in the mornings.
Get that.
I go in there and talk to him and coax him and show him the food. And he's like, leave me alone. Yeah. Flash is very different than Dash. They were raised in very different ways. Once Flash was weaned from his mother, he went into solitary confinement, and that's what he wanted. Sloths naturally are very solitary animals and just want to be left alone, especially in the wild. If you were to go out and try to have an experience like this with a wild sloth, it would go very different. People think about sloths as being really slow, gentle, docile animals, and they are as long as they're left alone. But if you try to take down a sloth out of a tree that has never been held before, even Flash would go very different for you. And he's been around people his whole life. So, people have gone in there and talked to him, given him his breakfast. And now he's to the point where he'll actually hook onto the door frame, come out here onto this branch and eat out here out of our hands and allow us to pet him real slow down his back. But if we were to try to take him off that branch and hold him, which is something he's never had done before, it'd be very different, probably pretty scary for him. So we don't ever hold Flash. And if we ever do, it'll be completely his decision. He'll have to be the one to climb onto us. But Dash had a very different upraising. So he came from a facility where they had an ambassador program for sloths, where they were conditioned every day for short amounts of time, so the same times throughout the day. The breeder would come in and hold that baby for a certain amount of time and make a clicker noise as soon as he goes in. So they always associate that with somebody coming in to handle them. And it was always just something routine that just happened to them, is that they just get to be held certain times throughout the day. And they're completely fine with that because sloths are very routine-driven animals, which is why it's unusual for Flash to come down so slow in the mornings, because usually as soon as we open up that door, it's coming down. But we were moving around and doing a lot more things in here this morning, so that may be why he's having a little bit of a slower day. Like, why are you guys moving around so much down there? They like the same thing every day. And usually the routine every day when I get here at 9:30, as soon as I come in, it's nice and quiet. Everybody else is doing their own thing. I open up the door, start chopping up everybody's veggies, getting everybody's breakfast prepared. And in that time, he starts to hear that and knows that I'm down here making it for him. And he'll start to come down. And before I'm even done chopping up the veggies and making everything, he's already hooking onto that door frame or is already out here on the branch waiting to get his breakfast. And that's very typical for him. But this morning we had a lot more movement, a lot more people going in and out and moving around. And so that's probably why he's like, what's going on down there?
We take our dogs, we go, we have a beach house. Mm-hmm. So we'll leave on a Friday and they know, like when we're getting certain things out and ready, that what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And when we try to take them to the vet, they know that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know, they know, and they're like in the car going.
Even
spell,
certain, and even certain things that you say too, you know, and they can pick up on your energy and things as well. If you're nervous about the vet visit, or you're saying, saying certain things that they can remember the last time that you said that we went somewhere that was scary. So they're a lot smarter than people think, and sloths are as well. People think they look at a sloth and just think, oh, it's just a dumb animal, doesn't understand anything, but they really do. And Dash does know his name. He could be taking a nap in this little basket that he's in a lot of times when he's napping, and completely fine as long as he can't see anybody. That he'll have a towel over top of the basket. He's taking a good nap in there. Somebody could come in and start talking and having a conversation. And if he's sleeping real good, he'll stay in there. But then as soon as you start talking about him and saying his name, he immediately will uncover himself and reach out and try and get somebody to be coming to pick him up, because that's what he genuinely enjoys.
What are their lifespan in the wild?
In the wild, nobody is actually for sure. There's yet to be any scientists that have been able to track one singular sloth from birth until natural, passing. A lot of times their lives are taken prematurely by electrocution if they're trying to pass a roadway using a telephone pole. So that does happen quite often. And then other things like, other animals getting them prematurely. Some people would consider that to be a natural death in the wild, but you have to take into consideration other things as well and try to make it just the life expectancy of the sloth without having anything else taking its life beforehand, with a dietary, everything different in the wild. So nobody's exactly sure. In captivity, the oldest sloth that we know of that was born and raised in captivity lived to be 54. So they can live really long, healthy lives as long as everything is just right for them. The conditions are favorable. Everything is working in their favor. They can live pretty long. In the wild, we expect it to be about half of that, if not even a little bit less than that, just due to, other things that will happen. And that's with any animal. If you bring an animal into captivity that otherwise would be in the wild, and is an animal like a sloth that has a lot of other things that could eat them, their lives are a lot shorter.
Do you prepare the rice? Boil it, or what?
Yeah, we pressure cook the rice and then shave up the sweet potatoes and soak the dog food to put into it. Where are you guys from?
Dothan, Alabama, right north of Panama City Beach.
Yeah. Where did you hear about us?
On Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So a lot of people hear about us.
Yeah. Well, I went to and we talked to John yesterday, and he said something about Cleveland, and I was like, Cleveland's that close? And it was another Cleveland. It was Cleveland, Georgia, and it's right outside of Helen. And they have a safari there, and they have a sloth room as well.
Yeah.
And we went there last year.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I can't believe it was that close. I didn't know, but it was.
Different.
But anyway, I wasn't able. The female that they had in, there was actually two females. It was the mother, the son, and then another female that they were trying to get her to go into heat. And so you couldn't hold her because it would make the boy mad, and then he would like reprimand her or whatever.
Oh,
yeah, he was
that's
kind
interesting.
of being a little bit of a bully, so they said you can't hold her because we're trying to get her to them to mate, and if you hold her and not him, you can't hold him because they're trying to get him to mate. So I was like, okay.
But usually they are able to be held. The ones that they have down there.
Where are they?
The female.
But not the male.
Yeah, and we could I guess the way they would work it, when somebody was holding the female, somebody would be over there like feeding him carrot sticks or petting him, giving him a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And since she couldn't hold her, then it was, I was very disappointed.
Oh.
Are they native to South America?
Yes. Yeah. Central and South America. We do just have the two-toed sloths here. I'm sure that's probably what they have there as well. There's the two-toed Linnaeus sloth that we have. Of the two-toed variety, there's also Hoffmans, and those are a lot lighter in color. they look almost more like a dirty blonde all over. Whereas he's pretty dark right now. And Flash, you probably got a glimpse of him. He's a lot lighter too. As they get older, they lighten up quite a bit. But the Linnaeus sloths will still have pretty dark forearms and dark on the top of their head. And then the middle of their back will be what's light. But on a Hoffman, the middle of the back for a Linnaeus is like what they are all over their body. So they're really light in coloration. But the three-toed sloths are really uncommon to see in captivity, especially in North America, because their diets are extremely sensitive. They can really only eat the leaves of the Cecropia trees, and those only grow in Central and South America. So to own a three-toed sloth, you basically have to have a private jet to fly you to and from the rainforest once a week to get you those leaves, which is not really economical. So
what eats eucalyptus? Is that
the koalas?
wow? That's the only thing they eat, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So did they talk about how they got their sloths or where their sloths came from or anything?
They didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of breeders in the States that actually raise sloths like this, where are actually able, comfortable with being held and interacted with and everything. I'm sure that there's places that do hold their sloths that are just kind of tolerating it, but not actually genuinely enjoying it like the ones that we have
here.
here.
Female was born there. She, there was and I don't know where her mother went, because that other mother was the mother of the boy that was in there.
Oh, okay.
But she was born there, and had been groomed really to be held.
Yeah.
I'm pretty impressed with the paint job.
Yeah.
Whoever did that.
Yeah. Yeah, and even when you get up close to it and see the details of it and everything too, it's really impressive. It was already painted when I came here, so I'm not sure who did it. Yeah. Yeah.
And you have, there's 3 sloths?
Yeah. Yep. We have Flash and Dash and Zoe. Both Dash and Zoe are holding sloths. And then Flash is the one that takes him a little bit longer to come down sometimes. When we got him, he came from a facility where he was basically just observation only beforehand. So he was not comfortable with anything, with really being in his enclosure. So it took really the first 2 years of having him before he would start to consider coming down to be around us. Yeah. It took a long time to really gain his trust and for him to understand that we're not trying to hurt him or anything.
Do they trust you, one individual, or
they do? Yeah, it's more so. Yeah, they do pick their person kind of like dogs do, and so Dash is still kind of in limbo because he's still. I can set that up here if you want me to, because he's still young and he's had a little bit some changes in his life because I've only been here for about 3 months and we've had him since he was 5 months. So he's not been here for a very long time, and so really just about 6 months. There comes Flash. And so I've lost my train of thought now because Flash is coming down. Where was I going?
How long you had him and you've been here?
Oh, yes. Yeah, so every night, John, the owner, will sit with him on his lap and while he watches his TV show and feed him his dinner and talk to him. And John has a really cool effect on animals for how gentle and, calm he is with his demeanor and everything. Hey, buddy. And so he does really good with the animals, but I'm the one that does all of the sloth encounters every day. But of course, I've only been doing that for 3 months. And before that, they didn't really have anybody consistent like they do now. Hey, bud, did you finally get hungry? Yeah. Let me get you your breakfast this morning. He says, I smell that rice, and now that's going to be the only thing that I want. We're going to get this other stuff out and see if you want anything else, though, buddy.
He's like, give me my breakfast.
What do you think, Flashers?
Hello. Hello. Good morning.
See if he's interested in any of these.
Yeah, I don't have none.
So when you go to feed him, you'll just kind of offer him the very end of the stick like that, and you kind of got to hold it there for a minute and let him figure out if he wants it or not. Sometimes he changes his mind, kind of filter through and see what he's in the mood for. And then you just offer him the end of it, and you can let it go, and he'll take in the rest of it. Their eyesight is extremely poor, so if he's reaching out and you give him a finger, he's not going to be able to tell the difference between a finger and a sweet potato. So don't give him a finger and think that he's not going to taste that. Which he does sometimes when he's reaching down. If you're taking too long to give him another bite, he'll start reaching down at you, going like this. And that for some people, they want to give him a hand, and I'm like, I was just looking for veggies. Let me see if I can zoom this out. Sweet potatoes, squash, zucchini, yeah, several different things.
Hey, buddy, I got your nibbles right here.
What do you think, buddy? You can stand up now if you want to, if that makes it a little bit easier to reach him up there. What do you think, bud? Because I'm thinking. There we go. He's got to have it processed in his brain there for a minute. It's like you can just see the little buffering signal there in his head. And it's funny, sometimes he'll pick on certain days, like he only wants sweet potato, and he'll turn his nose up at literally everything else. Or he'll have a green bean day where I've got to keep breaking out the green beans because that's all he's interested in. So he kind of filters through. It's rare occasions where he'll actually take a bite of everything. And you can see how tiny pinpoint those little pupils are. They stay like that all the time throughout the day when it's real light. They have what's called bright blindness in the daylight, and their vision really works best at night. And it's kind of like night goggle vision, what they do see. You got an itch, buddy?
Yeah, itchy. Yeah. Okay.
There we go. He's in a squash mood today. Those are rare. It's not usual that he is really digging the squash.
And yeah.
I'm almost wondering if sometimes the different veggies that we get, different people go to get them, and I'm wondering if it's from like different stores or different, produce sections or whatever, that sometimes he's just, because their smell is really good since their eyesight is so poor. Their sense of smell and sense of hearing is really heightened. And so he can probably pick up on a lot of things that we can't in the fruits there or the veggies.
Yeah, our dogs know if we're trying to give them medicine mixed in their food there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. And it's funny, yeah, and I've done that before too, where he'll sniff one end and he's like, no, and then I've turned it around and offered him the other. He's like, yeah, that's what I want. Yeah. So they are smart animals, but in other ways, it's just kind of like,
And he's too young to have cut up vegetables. He has to
not those big, not those big, not that big. But if I slice them up a little bit more, yeah, he can handle them a little smaller pieces. His teethers aren't quite as big as Flash's though. And you might be able to see, I don't know if Dash has yawned for you yet, but sometimes when he yawns, you can see all the way back down there in his mouth. And he doesn't have any teeth there in the very front of his mouth, but the first teeth that you come to are 4 really sharp canines on both sides of the mouth. And then back behind that, all of their molars are not flat like ours are. They're all pointed. And they just use those to grind up the leaves that they're eating and the veggies and everything. But if you were to look at the skull or the skeleton of a sloth without knowing what animal that was, you would definitely think they were like top of the food chain because of how their forearms are twice as long as their hind legs and just as long as the rest of their body. So you'd think they were really using those to like swing in the trees like a monkey or something. And those claws, you'd think they were using it to like swipe at things. But then to actually see what they are in reality, it's pretty ironic. And I think that the Lord definitely had a sense of humor when he created a lot of the animals that he did. It makes you kind of second think about some of the dinosaurs too. If they were actually as vicious as we think that they were, or were they actually a little bit differently?
They certainly look scary.
Yeah, for sure.
Or at least from the pictures.
Yeah.
Hell, buddy.
I never knew that there's a different smell between zucchini and squash, but apparently there is because he can always tell which is which. And if he's really having a day where he's wanting one kind.
Try breaking it. Let's see.
Perfect, buddy. No.
No.
Smell funny, I don't know him.
Maybe we'll try some green beans this morning. Well, those green beans are kind of salty.
Yeah.
That's
Your
gross.
breakfast good. You could come home and watch TV with me. Yeah. Oh, look, they have that.
She knows she's getting something out.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to check it out.
Sorry, buddy. These green beans don't look good. You would probably eat those, but I don't want you to eat those. Those don't look good.
I'll give you a stomach.
Yeah, these don't look the best either. And these were not even opened. Sorry, buddy. I hate to trick you like that.
Do you guys have grocery stores that donate
Yeah,
stuff?
I wish.
Oh, yeah.
Nope. Nope.
You want another squash? No?
I don't think that we have any more green beans in here, buddy. Nope. Oh, we do. Looky there. Somebody went to the grocery store. Here we go, bud. Break these in half.
Look, he's like,
Yeah, he gets really distracted by what I'm doing when I'm moving around and everything. Let's see if he's interested in those.
is that a green bean?
Buddy, you want green bean?
He said, I hadn't had my coffee yet. Not quite awake.
Are you done? No? Should I try a different one? No?
What do you think, buddy?
I wish this food would just go home.
Maybe sit down and he'll lean down and ask for
I
it.
could. Might have to be his idea.
Yeah.
And my dog's like that sometimes too. It's my idea. If I'm trying to get her to do something, she could care less. But if she decides it's what she wants, then it's all a go.
So you have lap time with John at night.
Oh yes. And he knows when it's time too. Like I said, they are very routine driven animals. And so if John turns on that TV show and hasn't picked him up yet, he is starting to climb to the very tippy top of his enclosure because he knows that it's almost time. So these are little cut up veggies for him. You just have to be sure and hold on to the very end of it and just give him the edge so that you don't actually accidentally put a finger in his mouth.
Oh boy.
He said, oh yeah. He's never shy about his butt bites.
See him one?
Let me see if another one?
You like your vegetables.
Oh yeah. Feeling better now.
He said, I just wanted my friend to have some vegetables too.
I like green beans too, buddy. All this stuff I like.
You eating good, aren't you?
Yeah, he's not shy about his whatsoever.
That's crazy that he gets to tongue you to be hog-headed.
Yes.
She having pair of pajamas.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that owning a sloth as a pet is a terrible idea. They are so sensitive to any type of little changes that it is a full-time job, especially to have 3 of them. I feel like I need 3 people sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it is a full-time job to make sure that everything is staying just right for
Has to
them.
be just right.
Exactly. And this environment is not something that's natural for them. And so we have to really make sure that we're controlling the environment. We always keep it 78 to 79 degrees in here year round. Yeah. And that's because for them, the bacteria that they use to digest their food is extremely sensitive to temperature changes.
Like once a week.
They do, yeah, about every 7 to 10 days. Yeah. And that bacteria, they only get it from, one source in captivity. They only get it from their mothers when they're just about 3 days old. And they'll start to make their own bacteria colony, and they'll keep that the rest of their lives as long as temperature is right for it. But if the temperature dropped in their enclosure, or during the winter, if we left a door cracked or something to going outside, and the enclosure temperature were to drop overnight, we could come back in and all of that bacteria they're using to digest their food could be completely wiped out. And if that's the case, there's not really a whole lot you can do to get that back up, because they don't make any form of a synthetic bacteria to give to them. Now there's a lot of efforts that you can try. If they kept just a little bit of the bacteria, you can do a lot of efforts to try to get that bacteria growth back up, give them different forms of like probiotics essentially. But that's going to be a really slow process. And that's the only way they digest their food. So that sloth could pass from starvation with a full belly of food, just not able to digest any of it. Yeah.
So they don't produce stomach acid.
Nope. And it's like ours, it's an enzymatic process that we use, and we're born with those enzymes, unless you have some type of a pancreatic disorder or something. But for them, they're not born with that bacteria. They have to get it from somewhere. So it starts out with the mother. They get just a little bit from her saliva while she's eating, and the baby's kind of licking her around her mouth. They'll get some of that. But then as they get older, they need to be in the wild. Temperatures are always fluctuating. So if they only got it from their mothers, and once they're weaned, they go out on their own, then if they lose that bacteria, then there's not really a whole lot that they can do. It's gone. They need some form to be able to continue, because as temperature is changing, they need it to be resupplied. And for sloths, those are actually moths that live on their backs in the wild, not here, thankfully. But in the wild, they have 200 to 300 moths living all throughout their fur at all times. Wow. Should be, because if they don't, then that's going to be the end of that sloth. And that's actually the reason why those sloths have to go down to the floor to go to the bathroom once a week. They don't ever go up in the tops of the trees, because when they do that, the moths will crawl down off of the sloth, lay their eggs in the dung pile of the sloth, and then crawl back up before they lose their ride back to the canopy of the rainforest. And then a week later, when the sloth gets the urge to go to the bathroom again, they have to go to that same pile that they went to last week, because those eggs have now developed into adult moths and need somewhere to go. They can't fly around their environment like other moths can. And so they need direct contact with the sloth's booty to be able to crawl up onto it. And that's why they can't go up in the tops of the trees. Did he eat all of his green beans? Oh my goodness. You may have to break him so it goes a little bit slower.
He said, that's funny.
And how old is Zoe?
Zoe's 18 months. Okay. Yep.
Would you guys ever mate her and him?
We had the ability to. Well, they came from the same facility. Yeah. They have completely different bloodlines. That breeder tracks his sloths all the way back from his original sloths that started it all. And he got those sloths, of course, from the rainforest. They weren't brought in, they weren't obviously already born and raised in captivity. But he did that 30 years ago, and how he got those sloths was the right way to do it. He's actually a veterinarian. And what he was doing was trying to rehabilitate some of those sloths that had actually been electrocuted by the telephone lines, trying to pass roadways, trying to rehabilitate them. The ones that their injuries were significant enough that they would not have a long life expectancy whatsoever if they were put back out into the rainforest, are what started his breeding program. And so since then, he's had generations upon generations upon generations of born and raised captive sloths to get what we've got now. So we have the ability to breed them. We don't have any plans to. It's not like we're going to become a breeding facility or anything, but we can in the future if we ever decided to. Now, Flash is a different story. His bloodlines go back to a certain extent, but not all the way back. And so we don't ever want to cross, breed anything. And so we're not going to breed him.
And they sleep like 18 hours a day or something?
Yep. About 16 to 17 hours, roughly that range. Now, scientists used to think that they slept a lot more than that, because they look like they're sleeping a lot more throughout the day. A really comfortable position for them to just rest in is up really close to the branch of that tree between the front legs, and you'd think that they were sleeping, but that's just really, really comfortable resting position for them. They'll stay there like that because throughout the day they can't really see that well, so they can't be moving around a whole lot. And some people consider them to be nocturnal animals because they do move around a lot more at night, but they're awake throughout the day. They just choose not to move around as much. So I wouldn't consider them to be fully nocturnal.
They so they only come out of the canopies to go to the bathroom, and that's it.
Unless they fell out of the tree.
And that's, I guess, stuff eat them because they can't.
Yeah.
Not very.
Yeah, it would make a lot more sense for the sloth to stay up in the trees to go to the bathroom because that's when they're most covered, by the rest of the leaves and everything. And wild sloths have that whole ecosystem on their back of moss and algae and fungus that really camouflages them in. They have kind of a green tint to their fur. And so they're really covered there in the canopy. But when they come down, that's when they're most exposed. But they have to do that because if they didn't, they went through a cold spurt. And there was a lady just telling me just yesterday that when she went down to, I think it was Honduras that she went down, and it was, we had a blizzard here at the time. It was really cold up here, and it affected all the way down that way, and it was really cold there too. She said she couldn't remember the exact temperature, but it was cold enough you couldn't swim. And so it definitely does drop down there, and if it were to drop in temperature, they didn't have those moths on their backs, it'd wipe out all that bacteria, and that sloth would be done in approximately 2 weeks. That's about how long it takes for a sloth to starve. So did you guys want to trade out or anything? Did you want to hold for a little bit?
Yeah, I'll hold it.
Okay. So he'll transfer on to me. Yeah, he's a messy eater sometimes. And then I'll transfer him over. Well, I was just about to transfer them. Did the other people show up?
I think they're sitting out there under the pavilion. I'm trying to get this text out to Dr. Miller.
You gonna start out with Flash with them? Well, they're just
Kevin is, yeah. Okay. And we have a sloth with a medical issue this morning. That's why we're all.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll trade over. Come on, bud. There we go. All right. I think that they are probably going to start out with Flash, is what I'm guessing. Okay. So I'll go ahead and transfer him over on you. We may end up going up to the pavilion to finish out our encounter. We'll just finish out with Dash.
He don't weigh much at all.
Nope, he's only about 5.5 pounds.
You know what? He reminds me of Poncho.
Is that a dog of yours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Zoe had an issue this morning?
Yeah, we'll talk about it more here in just a minute. We're on a live stream right now.
Hi.
What do you think, bud?
You want a green bean?
He was mid-itch, and then he was like, oh, actually, I might be hungry. What do you think, buddy? And it's funny, I was mentioning how they're very routine-driven animals, and for him, he's kind of been changing it up here recently, so he's kind of making me a liar out of it, but he used to be so sure that this side of the branch was his eating side. He would only eat over here. He would turn away anything if he was on that side of the branch. And then he would take short breaks and go over to this side and scratch himself or something and do something else over here, just take a minute to himself, and then come back to this side and start eating again. And he never really varied much from that. Now he's changed his mind a little bit, and if somebody offers him food while he's on that end, he'll take it occasionally. But for the most part, it used to be only that he would only eat on this side of the branch, or if he started to come out more towards this way. What do you think, bud?
You want a green bean?
What do you think, buddy? But you can pet him too, real nice and slow down the middle of his back with the grain of his hair. So these next people, just the sloth encounter?
Yeah, so I was going to say, you can probably just go outside the pavilion.
Yeah.
It'd be the easiest.
Is there anybody up there right now? Okay, cool.
Do you have the date that we sent the culture?
It was like the second day that I collected it. You'll have to ask.
That's your TV watching partner.
What shows y'all watch westerns?
There was a second still sample?
No, that's the only sample Sam's ever sent.
Oh, okay.
But it's going to be on the lab what they was But we actually sent a sample. I don't know.
I could look back at the text that John was
When you're
asking.
saying being in a Western, I'm always trying to like put the sloths like in different funny outfits or different things. The AI can never get their arms right. Like it'll occasionally have like 5 arms or just 3 or like an extra head coming off. Like, yeah, that's not right. Pretty chill.
Rough being a sloth here.
819 is when the result came in.
We sent it like really early on. It took a long time to get it back.
Twelfth is when we sent it. He says 12th. He says nothing on the float.
Yeah, 12. No, we gave it to him on the 8th. We gave him the sample on the 8th. When he sent it out, I don't know.
Do they get their water from the
For the most part, yeah, they don't really drink a whole lot. We still offer it to him, and he's actually funny. When we give him the water, we have to angle the dish just right to where he doesn't have access to the water with his nose, because otherwise he goes in the water, and I'm like, you're going to aspirate yourself.
You're done.
But are those other people ready to come in here? Flash has been down for a good while, so we got a lot of time with him. He's been, it seems like just the green beans this morning is all he's been interested in.
He had a squash and a sweet, I guess that's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The green beans.
When they're fresh green beans, he really likes them.
Yeah, and there's 2 other bags, one not even open, that didn't look the best, and I threw it away. I was like, sorry, bud, we don't have any green beans. And then I saw a new bag in there, so it made his day.
All right, partner.
Get a hold of, and we'll go up to the pavilion.
There you go.
Go, buddy. All right, we'll come up this way. Yes. Yeah.
All right, big boy.
Bye, buddy.
You guys have fun.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys, we're going to get started here in 1 second.
So it won't be until when he's about 5 years old, you'll be ready.
You can go ahead and come on in, and I'll grab the door for you guys. And then that's Flash up there. So a couple little rules. Do you see him hanging out? There he is. Yeah, so a couple little rules here. I'm going to swing around you. So when we're feeding him, we just want to make sure we don't put our fingers in his mouth because they have monorod chromacy. So that means they can't really see the difference between this and this. He's been liking green beans, they said this morning. See how he kind of smells. But sometimes he doesn't always want them. Might be a little bit. When you pet him, you want to pet him with the back of your hand. Don't do the cat scrunch thing. They don't like that. If they do that, he will immediately pull up. You want that little bite, bud? We got some treats for him, too. And then I will tell you guys a bunch of things about sauce. And here's Green Bean. And he can also put his little face in there, and he will go to town on that because that's like his idea of a treat. So sloths in the wild are typically only going to live to 20 to 30 years old. The reason for that is they're either going to fall from the tree or old age or the harpy eagle. But in the wild or in captivity, they can live to 52 and 54 years old. There were 2 sloths in Germany, Jan and Paula. And that's how long they lived. Yeah, do that little small one, and he will usually even hang down. Yeah. Let's see if he's going to go for it. See how he starts to lick his lips. It's right there below you, Flash. If he doesn't go for it right away, I'll come over there and help you out. So in the wild, they are going to use the bathroom every 7 to 10 days. And when they do that, yeah, exactly. They grab onto the tree and then they climb all the way down. They hold onto the tree and they do this dance. And they're like shaking their booty on the ground. So, but 30% of their body weight is what they're going to lose. Oh, there he goes. He's eating now. So imagine if you weighed 200 pounds having a 60-pound bathroom break. That's what's going on with the sloths. We would need some new plumbing for sure. Another thing that happens is when they use the bathroom in that poop pile is the sloth moth then crawls up onto them and lives on their fur. So in the wild, they have between 100 to 200 bugs living all over them, which would drive me crazy. But then they groom themselves, and the bacteria and the algae that they get on their claws, they ingest, and that's what helps them process their food, because they process their food through an enzymatic process, or excuse me, a bacterial process. We use enzymes. So if he gets too cold, that bacteria culture doesn't stay there, goes away, and so they could actually pass away with a full stomach of food, but no way to process it. So that's the reason you always hear like, oh, if a sloth bites you, it's in the world bacteria. I'm like, if anything bites you, it has bacteria on it. Like, I don't want a human biting me. He likes to move around, and he may even here. Let's see if we can get him encouraged to come over here. Hey, Flash, you can come over this way. You smell it? So their sense of smell and their sense of hearing is really, really good because they do have monorod chromacy, but sometimes they're just not in the mood, and we don't ever force them. So we're going to let them have a break, but we're obviously going to hang out with them. And I'm sorry I'm so stuffy, but I think I flipped over in the river, and you know, all that river water goes in your nose, and you're like, I don't have allergies, but I have a head full of water.
You know what? Maybe that's what's wrong with me. We went Nantahala,
yeah,
and I'm having all
we went up to the Nantahala too. It's funny. I spent a lot of time up there as a kid, and I'm always like, I'm gonna freeze. I don't want to go there, but it's so easy and chill that like my girlfriend and my daughter love it. And I like how they have everything set up down there now, like with the music, and you know, it's pretty fun to chill out. And at the end of the encounter, we'll let him go back into his area, which is right here beside you. And he'll definitely move around a lot then. And then we'll get to watch him go outside also.
I thought it would be coarse fur. It's so soft.
I think it's kind of, well, I think it's between beard hair and regular hair. But my daughter and my girlfriend say that it's just like troll doll hair.
Oh.
Which I'm not a troll doll hair expert, but they say that's what it feels like. Are you guys doing the VIP also, or?
Yes.
You are? Okay, cool. So when we go to hold either Zoe or Dash, he'll move around a lot, and then you'll be able to see him. She's like, I'm already going to cry. Yeah. Sorry. We have to go get tissue quite frequently for people.
How old is he?
So he's almost 8. Before Flash came here, he was at a facility up north, and he was only interacted with behind a glass window. So it took John almost 2 years of just feeding him every day at 10 o'clock to have him ready just to want to hang out. And he does let us obviously pet him and everything now. He's never tried to get on us, and if he does, we'll be stoked, but it's not something that we're going to force him to do. The other 2 sloths, like, they want to hold on to you. Like, as soon as they get, they're like, hey, I'm your friend. Yeah. Flash is like, we're acquaintances.
Yeah.
The reason that you don't find any 3-toed or 3-fingered sloths, or at least not very many in North America, is they need to eat the leaves of the Sarcopia tree, and that doesn't natively grow in North America, and they're trying to make some, basically, yeah, but inside of greenhouses, like even up north, and I'm like, that's a big old greenhouse, and you gotta wait a while.
Long.
Yeah. So, and it's kind of the same reason that we don't have koalas, because we would have to be flying back and forth to get eucalyptus leaves. And my private jet's broken and my credit card's broken, so it's not working out. So if you guys have an extra private jet, you know.
Well, yeah, my wheels fell off.
There you, man, that's the worst. Michelin always letting us down. So you guys in Chattanooga, that's cool. That's not far.
Not far at all.
Yeah.
We came up last weekend for the Nantahala.
Oh, yeah. I think the drive, like, once you come here by the Ocoee over to the Nantahala, is so pretty.
Right.
I'm like, this is awesome. I was like, everybody's going to know soon. Like, I've been coming up here for about 35 years, and I'm like, more and more people, you know?
And it's the way it always works.
So another really cool thing about Sloth is that they have 46 ribs, 2 sets of 23, and all their internal organs are connected to each other and to their ribs with a connective tissue. So like when he's hanging upside down, you know, normally if you had all that weight in your stomach pushing at your diaphragm and your lungs, you'd be like, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
So that's the reason everything is protected. But also when he falls out of that tree, he's not getting that secondary impact. You know, if we get in a car wreck, our brain moves around, we get that secondary impact. He's not getting that. And then even his esophagus is different. It goes down around his stomach and then loops back in and has a check valve. So he doesn't burp and he doesn't throw up. So it's also really important that you make sure that you feed him good stuff, because he can't kick it back out.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty unique features to Sloth. Let me get his relative. Let's see where he is. Right back.
Oh.
All right. So the reason that well,
Sorry,
no, you're good. I'll go ahead and tell you about it, and then, well, that worked out. So,
I thought you were getting them for me.
well, sure, yeah, obviously. So the reason that we have that armadillo, the 3-banded armadillo, is him, the sloth, and the giant anteaters are all part of the superorder of the thorns, meaning they can ball themselves up. So they're the only ones that can do that. So all the other animals, like the other armadillos, they kind of ball themselves up, but they have like the long tails. So the ones that we have up here in the southeast, those are 7, 8, and 9-banded armadillos. But once she brings my toy back, we'll talk more about it.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I was like, I wonder if she hasn't got him yet.
That's funny.
And you can pet him. It's totally fine. The reason you wouldn't want to hold one in the wild is they would be covered with all those bugs and all that algae and everything. And they're a wild animal. People are like, oh, don't hold wild sloths. I'm like, don't hold any wild animal, you know? It's like, have you ever tried to hold a deer? That's not going to work out well, you know? I don't get when people are surprised. They're like, the wild animal didn't want to be held. I was like,
or for the people that try to, pet the bison.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on.
I'm like, have you ever walked into a biker bar and tried to go hug somebody? It seems usually doesn't work out. I think of that little cartoon on Animaniacs where that girl's running around. She's like, I want to hug you and squeeze you. And she's like grabbing all the animals. Yeah. I'm like, I know you want to do that, but you can't.
That would be her, but she's got more common sense than that.
Well, that's all right.
Just a little bit more.
So what are you guys doing in Chattanooga?
We both work for the sheriff's office. She works with inmates and as a civilian, and I'm a sergeant over the courts.
There you go. Keep everybody in line.
Yeah, well, try.
Cute little face. You probably said it, but I must have missed it because I was excited. But is it 3-toed or
2-toed.
2-toed?
So the way that you can tell that is the front limbs whether they have 2 or 3. So the back limbs always have 3, no matter which one they have. But also like the typical image that you always see on their base shirts and everything with kind of that mask.
Yeah.
Those are the 3-toed or 3-fingered. So those don't ever really have that. They have a little bit of different coloring. And also even their vertebrae is a little bit different. So this guy's whole spine is really flexible. Like if he hangs down, you'll see him, he can rotate 270 degrees just with holding on with one limb. You're like, you could escape from anything, you know, like this guy would be the worst prisoner ever. You'd be like, oh, I'm done. But the 3-fingered or the 3-toed, they really kind of just move their neck more. So they're the ones that look like they're smiling, and then they just rotate their neck. And then even with the 3-fingered or the 3-toed, they have a couple little extra vertebrae past the end of like the last one, past where normally like our coccyx would be, right? So when they get down into the poop pile, they get even more stuff up on them because they have a little bit of a tail. So they get even more bugs.
This is literally her dream encounter, so.
Awesome.
It's my birthday.
Well, happy birthday. Not a bad birthday. Me and my daughter have the same birthday, and it's at the end of this month. So that means I never get a birthday.
Yeah. My son's is 5 days before mine.
Yeah. So yeah, you know, you're like, I won't forget, but that means. And my sister's is at the beginning of the month, and my grandfather's was also. We're like stacked up. Oh, look there. So this little guy is Baku, and his name is short for Bakugan, right? But see how he like perfectly nests together?
Yep.
And a really good defensive mechanism that they have, you can see that little seam right there. So what he'll do is if he's like, oh, they won't leave me alone, he'll open up and clamp it back. Yeah, see how fast? And it will feel just like a car door.
Oh.
I mean, it will hurt. So he's pretty amazing. He can nest all the way back together, a complete ball. So there's over 20 different kinds of armadillos. And there's one even called the pink fairy armadillo. It's this little tiny cute thing. And then there's a giant one that's over 100 pounds. But you can see how his claws right there look really similar to the sloths. And then that name Zathorn means hinged spine. And when they're born, it looks like they're born with like one of those old-timey football leather helmets. And then everything solidifies together. So go ahead and touch the outside. You'll feel that it's warm.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So it is alive. He's not going to bite. He just moves around.
Oh.
It is warm. It's called his carapace. And it's made of the same material as like our hair and nails. And I think that he looks like a russet potato on high heels when he goes around. See? So he'll dig at your shoes. He won't bother you. He's just looking for bugs. And it usually tickles is.
Find bugs on her.
Yeah. All over the place.
And he actually does like back and booty scratches and will shake his butt just like a little dog. You gotta do it like kind of fast as soon as you start. There you go. And when he really, really gets going on the floor because of his little claws, he sounds like he's running on high heels. So he looks like a russet potato hauling booty on high heels.
Oh.
He's pretty awesome. So we're hoping to get a girl one and call her Shaka Khan. So we'll have Bakugan and Shaka Khan, a little 80s action there. But it's pretty cool how his ears just nest right back in.
Yeah.
He's like the original Transformer.
Oh.
Yeah.
And his eyes, I've never actually really noticed. See how blue they are? See it over here?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
He's pretty cool.
that is awesome.
I'm going to set him down in here so he doesn't attack the shoes too much. Go in there, buddy.
I've never actually been up close to an armadillo, and only seen them dead on the side.
Yeah.
It's the only time I get to see them.
Uh-huh.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's awesome. And I feel like he really has kind of like a little personality because he really goes around. He's like looking in your shoes. And especially if you have like lower sneakers, he's like in it to win it. If you have boots, he's like, nah, it's not worth it. Yeah. So their metabolism is so slow that it takes them anywhere from like a week all the way up to a month to process any of their food.
Oh, wow.
Yep. They can slow their metabolism all the way down to where they're only consuming about 500 calories a day, which I'm pretty sure if we wake up and walk down a set of stairs, we've consumed 500 calories.
Right.
At least that's what I like to try to hope for.
Yeah.
But they also can hold their breath a really, really long time. There's been reports anywhere all the way up to 40 minutes, which that seems a bit excessive. But when you combine it with the fact that they can slow their metabolism that slow, I get it. Swimming is not their primary form of transportation, obviously, but it's like if the jungle's flooded, you know they can swim. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, look at those limbs. They're like the Michael Phelps arms. The big thing they don't like to do is trying to walk/crawl. Like I'm sure you've seen videos where they're on the road and people are trying, like that's not their form. Their form of transportation is in the trees. Now what they did one time that was kind of interesting is those fallow bracelets where you can tell where the animals are, you kind of track them and stuff. So they had one down in Costa Rica and they're like, this sloth is like moving. What is going on? It was at a banana plantation, and at the banana plantations, they moved the clumps of bananas with zip lines. And so the sloth was just hanging on to the big clumps of bananas and riding the zip line. And I was like, that would be hilarious to see on video.
Yeah.
Like his hair going back, and he's like, woo.
Like the, Zootopia.
Yes, exactly. And you can try another piece of food now too if you want. So a lot of people wonder how they can just hang on like that. So their relaxed state is clamped on. Not clamped on super tight, but like his relaxed state is held like this. So when we do hold Dash, you'll feel like he kind of grabs onto you, and then maybe he'll pull in tighter if he hears something loud. But when we go to switch, he actually has to think to release. So that's the reason that they can pass away in the trees and not actually fall, because as long as they're a little bit wedged, they're always having at least one limb hooked on. So it's pretty cool. I was about to say, were you guys on duty yesterday in Chattanooga?
Yeah.
I was like, you probably had a busy day.
Well, actually, I was off.
Oh.
Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad it's just a prank call, because and there's another. Where was it? There was another college that they had a prank call the same day. So I'm wondering if it's the same people.
Yeah, my little girl goes to school down there, and you know you get all this stuff, and I'm like, it's not even. I was like, it's not even that close. Like people get all, you know, stressed out. I was a cop in Guam and Hawaii when I was in the Air Force, and it was very fun. But I was at very chill bases. So Guam is like, we get stuff that flies in and out, but no real assets there. And then Bellows is just has putt-putt, a beach, and the vice president's vacay house. No, it was seriously Baywatch. Like we rode four-wheelers and were lifeguards.
Oh,
that's the reason
pretty good.
that's the reason I usually don't say like I was in the military. I was like, because it wasn't the normal. It was like vacay.
They think that they should just let leak out. You had more people join.
Yeah.
Promise on that, and then put them somewhere else.
And I had, you know, like you're supposed to write down your wish list of where you want to go, and it never usually gets that. And I'd ask for like the worst things ever. I was like, send me here, send me there. And then I get these two, and people are like, what? And then most people are like, I just want to stay near my mom or wherever in Kansas. And I was like, yeah. And then the people always that want to leave, they're the ones that get the bases right next to their home.
I put in for my A school was in Meridian, Mississippi.
Yeah.
So I got the top of the class, so I got to pick out where I was going, and there was going to be one station in Norfolk.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's perfect. And then a week later, like, not where that was stationed at.
Yeah.
San Diego.
Oh, well, that's not horrible. How's it going?
Good.
Good. We've been hanging out with Flash here, feeding him a little bit, and then oh yeah. He came down and we fed him a little bit, and then towards the end we're gonna let him go into the area when we start to hold dash.
All right, good.
I can stay with this, and we're good. So that was John. John and Donna own the place, and a lot of times we're working like vet things and different things like that. And sometimes I do encounters, but sometimes I just do the social media or develop scripts for them to write. So one of them, they're floaters. You know, you're like, what are you gonna do? I have no idea today. Right. So did you like Norfolk?
No, I didn't never go to.
Oh, you went to San Diego. That's what. Yeah.
It was different. I was trying to stay closer to home.
Yeah.
So I guess I really needed to get away from everything. So it was good.
When you said Norfolk, I was like, because John was in the Navy and he lived in Virginia for a while. I was like, you guys will talk for 3 days because he was like, thought it was the best time ever.
I spent my time over there, which is good because I got to, do the shellback hazing ceremony.
Yeah. That's right.
Hey, are they thinking that they're on VIP?
They do.
Oh, I don't have it as that. I just have it as the normal one.
Rachel's?
Yeah, Dwayne Rachel's.
Here, I'll go check on the other side. Or
I'm on this one. Yeah, go check it out.
Okay.
On here. Or if you have to receive that one.
here's this. This one.
Yeah, that's just the name of the main encounter. You can choose to add or choose not to add the VIP when you get to the bottom of it. If you click on the website, it go to Sloths. The name of this is the Sloth/VIP encounter. And when you select that, if you want to add the VIP on, you come down to the end. You have to click upgrade VIP encounter. Did you do that?
I thought I did. Let me see where my actual receipt is.
Either way, we could do it today. Whether it's already paid or it needs to be paid, we can still do it.
Absolutely. That's what I want, so we'll pay it if we need to. And I'm not getting service right now. Pull it
Yeah,
up,
we'll just do it, and then we'll look at the receipt, and if you paid, great, and if you didn't, we'll fix it, and no problem. All right, so some of the things that some of the other people don't talk about quite as much as I do. Did you guys go all through the sloth moth symbiosis? Yes. Okay. And did you talk about why he's safe in the top of the tree?
Because of the muscles? Or
no, when he's in the top of the tree, the reason he is safe from basically everything that would want to hunt him, except for a harpy eagle, a snake cannot find a sloth. A sloth's core body temperature is whatever the outside air temperature is. His energy budget is so low because of his diet that he cannot maintain his body temperature. So daytime high in the rainforest, mid 80s, nighttime low, upper 60s. His core body temperature can make a 19-degree swing every single day. And so he also has no sweat gland, scent gland, musk gland, none of that. So there is no smell to a sloth. And snakes hunt by sense of smell and temperature. So if a snake finds a sloth, it is blind dumb luck. There's no way for him to find him. Second, cats can't get to the sloth in the top of the tree. The structure of his eyes is rod monochromacy, which basically means if you've seen a POV of the military guys on a movie running around with the night vision goggles and they just see blobs in front of them, that's the way that he sees. He sees motion very, very well, both day and night, but he sees objects very poorly. He can't see the difference between me and either one of you. But anything that's coming toward a sloth is bad news for a sloth. So what he's going to do is end of the branch, get to the end of the branch, and then, it's going to hang down under his 15-pound weight. Then the cat that's trying to get to him is coming along the top of the branch, right? And when he gets to the end, what's he going to do? So he can't get to the sloth. And should the cat press the issue to the point that the branch breaks and the whole mess falls 100 feet to the rainforest floor, the sloth will almost certainly be uninjured and the cat will almost certainly be ended. And the sloth will look over at the cat and he'll say, ha, ha, and back up the tree he goes. And the cat will not be returning to the top of the tree. The one animal that can get to it in the top of the tree is the harpy eagle. It doesn't need scent, it doesn't need temperature, it doesn't need the support of the branch. So that's what he is at risk to, in the top of the tree. And that is one of the many reasons that the moss and algae that are all in the sloth's fur. So if you've seen a picture of one in the wild, they're nasty looking. The more moss, more algae, more disguise from the harpy eagle. So even though he's entirely safe in the top of the tree, yet he comes all the way down because, as Kevin has told you, the sloth moth symbiosis. And every week when he comes down, there's more new moths to fly up onto him, because this week's eggs are next week's larvae or the following week's moths. So every time that he comes down, there's a new step in the process and more moths fly up onto the sloth. And he is only down the tree for about 2 or 3 minutes. He's going to eliminate 1/3 of his total body mass when he goes to the bathroom. And while he's in the top of the tree, he's eating about 10% of his body weight every day. So when the sloth comes down the tree, same side of the tree, and he's going to drop 1/3 of his body weight, let's put that to human perspective. If I'm going to eat 10% of my body mass every day, I'm about 200 pounds. That means I'm rolling into Outback and saying, bring me 20 of the 16-ounce porterhouse steaks. Or hitting the Golden Arches and saying, bring me 80 quarter pounders, right? That just couldn't work. And then when he comes down the tree and he's going to eliminate 1/3 of his total body mass, 200 pounds, 1/3 of that is about 60. We're talking about a bag of dog food in a 5-gallon bucket in 2 or 3 minutes. So the sloth, when he comes down and he does his business, the moths fly down. They lay their eggs. They get back as quick as they can because they need the ride back to the canopy of the rainforest. The only reasons those moths will leave the sloth in their life is to drink water that pools up in the leaves up in the canopy and to get into the waste pile to lay their eggs. Beyond that, they live their whole life on the sloth. They're eating the moss and algae that is all in the sloth's fur, and they're fertilizing the same via their waste. So more moths, more algae. So the first benefit to the sloth from the moths is the algae, the disguise, the camouflage from the algae. The second, I'm sure he told you, is that the moths are the protein source of the sloth. And the third is that is how he replenishes his gut bacteria colony on an everyday basis. And so why we don't need moths here, first, there is nothing hunting him here, so he doesn't need the disguise. Second, he doesn't have to have the protein from the moths because he is getting other protein sources here. And third, he doesn't have to replenish his gut bacteria all the time. Now, for us, we have gut bacteria. What interrupts our gut health is antibiotics. We take a lot of antibiotics. We need some probiotics. We need some Greek yogurt. He lives in the rainforest. He's never heard of GNC. He doesn't know where Publix is. He's not getting any probiotics. He's not getting any Greek yogurt. So he gets it from the waste of the moths. Now here, he doesn't need it. Here, he's always 79 or 80 degrees. He doesn't ever get cold. And if he doesn't ever get cold, it doesn't interrupt his gut health. What interrupts his gut health is cold temperature. In the rainforest, he's getting cold all the time, and to different degrees, how cold he's going to get. Here, he's never going to get cold. So as long as he never gets cold, his gut health maintains forever, just like ours would forever if we never took antibiotics. And this guy has some other specialty features to him. He's going to live a long time in the rainforest. The current theory is that they're going to live somewhere around 20 years. But of course, no one has ever observed one from birth to geriatrics in the wild. So this is a hypothetical number. But because he's going to live a long, long time in the rainforest and he doesn't have a toothbrush, his teeth have no enamels. As his mouth opens and closes like this, his teeth come down different ways. And he is continuously wearing the enamel layer off, or wearing the outside layer off of his teeth. And the teeth grow for all of his life. So he will always have long, strong, sharp teeth. And if you look at a picture of a skeleton, the one where their gums aren't over their teeth are ferocious looking. And this is just a Google search of sloth skeleton, but the sloth.
You must have been the one feeding him for the 2 years.
4 years, yeah.
Because
oh yeah, before his
when
encounters.
he heard your voice, he's hung down, his eyes opened up. And
I am his person. If I am in the room and he's coming right to me, if Tatum is in the room, he comes right to her. Kevin's been here about a year. He sees Kevin every day. And our sloth keeper, Michaela, has been here for about 3 months. So sometimes she needs somebody to come in and give him a little hay flash to get him down the tree. But yeah, I am his person. But that is what the skeleton looks like of a two-toed sloth. So you can see the claws look just like that.
Yeah.
The teeth, you know, he's got gums and skin over his teeth, but from tip to root, they're massive. And he's got only 5 vertebrae in his cervical spine. He's got 46 ribs, 23 sets of ribs. His arms are longer than his body. His legs are longer than his arms. This is a two-toed sloth. So he's built a little more like a truck. The three-toed sloth is built a little more like a sports car, but it's like one that's going to be pushed across the stage of barrage action because it's not going anywhere fast. So the three-toed sloth has 9 vertebrae in the cervical spine, far fewer between hips and shoulders. He's got far fewer ribs. His arms are still longer than his body, but his legs are shorter than his body. So they are fairly different animals. Hey, Bubba, what you doing, buddy? And so the two-fingered sloth is going to turn his head more like an owl would, and the three-fingered sloth, he's 2. Three-fingered is going to turn his head more like an owl would. The two-fingered is going to turn from hips to shoulders like this. And yes, buddy, you're a good boy. Yeah. And hey, I'm a little behind. I'm still in an encounter this morning. And we're sorting out. The person on the 10:30 believes they have VIP, but we're figuring that out.
I checked. They do not.
Okay. They're just going to add it on. All right. I've spoken extensively to Dr. Miller this morning, who had no power yesterday. He's not ignoring us. Everything is good. Talk to him a lot. I'll fill you in on that in a while. Okay. All right. I'll make sure to answer it. FedEx. Oh, yeah, because it has to be signed. All right. Good. Got it. Thanks. Bye.
Are these guys just the sloth encounter?
They're VIP. We were sorting it out at the end. They think they already did. If they didn't, we'll upgrade it. But yeah, they are VIP. So I was just finishing up with this because we were a few minutes behind. So I'm sure he told you how the sloth hangs in the tree like eternally because of the tendons right here. That relaxed exertion, right? And so yeah, he probably covered most everything else. The sloth, because his eyesight is so poor, his sense of smell and his sense of hearing are wonderful, and his sense of spatial awareness is also very, very good. When he's in his home range of trees, he can scurry around like anything, and he'll be good to go. All right, if Michaela wants to come do the VIP part.